Can you hear me now, Marcus?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Marcus, for setting this up. I'm excited to be involved and excited about your new venture here in Parkville at the church, as we have had some conversations recently. It's my pleasure to be here, first of all. And for those of you who don't know me, Kevin Chrisman, the police chief here in Parkville, Missouri. I've been the chief 12 years since January 6th of this year. Prior to that, I was retired a couple years, and then I spent a total of 34 years on the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, 4 as a civilian and 30 law enforcement, were retired as a major. It's a great pleasure to be the police chief in a community that embraces law and order and really has an invested interest in the community. However, we still experience the same things that most agencies and communities across this city, nation, experience, and that's lack of resources. So as we grow with this concept, I'm hoping that for us as police officers, as you know, we can always use more resources. We become everything to all people. They call us for everything, and we have to try to come up with an answer. But to give you a little background about what we do here in Parkville that I'm quite proud of, I think we're do things that we do really well is our community policing efforts. You know, if you think about it, we're called law enforcement officers, but quite frankly, we spend very little time enforcing the law, but we spend a lot of time, a high percentage, of building relationships. It's always been my belief from my Kansas City, Missouri Police Department days that getting to know people in your community and the areas that you patrol, you end up building a sense of trust, and then you also end up developing a sense of compassion for each other, and you kind of put yourself in each other's shoes, what you're doing, and how you enforce a law if you have to. What is great about this community is people here seem to call us when we want them to call us. We tell them to call on suspicious activity because the people in this community know their communities better than anybody, and they live here for a reason because of the safety that we are able to enjoy here. However, just a few notes. You know, the city is growing. Those of you that have lived here for some time know this. It was just a few short years ago when I was hired out west where the big project's going, where the ball fields are, and the housing and et cetera. Thousand Oaks only had 6 houses. Oaks in 2009 when I became the chief had 6 houses that were actually the city of Parkville. The rest was the county. If you drive out there now, there are hundreds of homes. They just approved 2 plats for over 100 and around 40 homes. And then all of the townhomes. We are growing leaps by leaps. And so with that becomes a challenge for me as the police chief to try to provide all the resources that you have come to expect from us. And so far we've been able to do this. It's getting a little harder because our calls for service are getting more frequent. We're starting to see some upticks in some crime, particularly property crimes. Cars left unlocked are just tearing us up, and not necessarily in our city, but all over this Northland. It's cars that are left unlocked, so that takes an officer to take a report. People can help us by locking the car doors, and if you do lock them, you have to take out all valuables and shutting garage doors. We've also had a couple of few felonies that we've had crime. Some of them are crime of opportunity. However, I'm pleased to report that we have a high percentage, almost I think 95% was the last figure I just did on our solvability of violent crimes, which I take great pride in, that when we do have one, we get right on it. We've been lucky to come to some positive conclusion with an arrest and clear that case. However, my number one priority, and always has been in law enforcement, and even here in Parkville, is we must be readily available to handle calls for service. We need to be available for you, the resident, the passer through, and the merchants, the building, or the business owners, to be able to respond in a timely fashion to provide you need, if so be it. We do a good job about that. It's getting a little harder, so therefore, a few years ago, knowing that the project out west was going to expand our community, which, by the way, the beauty of Parkville is we're not landlocked like some cities. We are approximately 15 to 17 square miles split up. Those of you know the area, there's a flag between Crooked Road going west out to the western limits. That's the county, so we have to drive out that way to get back in our city. We encompass 435 corridor all the way up north of 152 to Tepney Spring Road. So you can see it's getting bigger and it's growing. Therefore, our challenges is to maintain staffing. The city has been very good with me when I bring them issues of concern or expansion for growth. We were able to up our manpower allotment by 2 officers starting January 1. I'm in the process now of interviewing several men and women for those positions. That will bring us up to 19 sworn and 1 non-sworn. I only have 1 reserve officer, and the only reason why I have that one is because he worked here in this city for 4 years, and he's a great community policing officer, and he went to another job that he enjoys doing, and he still lives in the area. So we have that program. So roughly on the weekends we could have him here. He rides a bike in my bike patrol. We have only really 1 specialized unit, and it is our bike patrol. All the men that ride the bikes are sent to a 4-day school. You will see them in the summertime, and not just in our parks. They are told to go out into the communities. They will actually take the car with the bike racks and patrol. I believe in interaction. The bike eliminates a barrier called the police car. Those of you that know some of the officers, you will see us out a lot, particularly on the weekends. In our parks, which we are fortunate to have. We have the 2 largest parks in the area that are highly frequented. That's English Landing Park and our now Platte Landing Park that is growing and will continue to be consideration for different growth as the years progress. So as I've stated, enforcing law is a very small percentage of what we actually do. Did I go away? Marcus? Can you hear me, Marcus? Okay. So policing is...
Yes, we can still hear you, sir.
Okay, sorry, because my computer just went blank, and then it popped back up. Most of the time we're building relationships, as I've stated. There are some programs that we do that I feel that most people probably by now kind of heard about, and maybe some not, that I'm very proud to be a part of, and have started most of them, and I have the support of my whole police force and Board of Aldermen and the mayor, as well as city staff. To show you how we give back to the community and look after our community, 2010 started the Shop with Cop program. I know everybody's heard that. It's kind of a little cliche, but we do ours different. Our children are picked. We don't try to go by numbers. We'll have anywhere from 15 to 22 a year. They're identified through the school district of maybe needing some help and assistance through the holiday season. And then we take them shopping at Walmart, buy them clothes, food. I buy food for the parents, allow them to grocery shop. So we actually make it a whole family deal, not just buy toys and things just for children. Out of that program, developed the Parkville Police Community Assistance Fund. Started getting involved with more programs. We saw a need in our community. I did on a back-to-school program. I used to do some work up at the Braden School when I was asked to read to children. I thought it was a very rewarding experience, and I enjoyed it. But what we noticed is some of these kids start out at the start of the year with not the right items. So my program, we will buy about 10 kids, get 10 or 11 identified. We don't just buy the backpacks and the school supplies. I go a step further and we buy clothing for our children. We allow them to start school just like everybody else. I feel it's just as important that they get off on the right foot at the start of the school year like everybody else. As we all know, everybody's judged in today's times, and it gives us a good feeling, and it seems to be working very well for us. And we usually have the kids come to the station to pick them up. This year, COVID-19, as you will know, created some new dynamics for us. I did not stop any programs. I just modified all of them in a safe manner. We delivered. We used all the face masks, social distancing the best we could. We were still able to give back to our community. Another program we do has started back about 6 years ago, our seniors in Park Village Apartments, the 55 and older complex. Got to thinking, kind of they're forgotten, but no longer in our community. We provide a Christmas luncheon. They look forward to it every year. I look forward to it. It's a great time. The mayor, council people, they all show up when they can. It's a great time. It's a 2-hour long deal. We put bags together, little gifts for them. Local restaurants will donate food, but most time we buy it and we cater in some pretty good food, and we have some great conversation. This year, we actually delivered the meals to each apartment. We did our research before, found out who would be home, and I tell you what, it would have been heartbreaking had we not done it, because they really looked forward to it. Many thank yous came through, but we got just as much of a satisfaction from being able to provide that meal to them. We also do a trick or treat program that's very huge. You wouldn't think it would be, but it is. We'll package up 900 to 1,000 bags. Christmas or Halloween night, all crews get them in their car, and they just go around the neighborhoods and they give it out. It's all store-bought candy. Everything is safe. That has brought many people to me that could afford to buy all the candy they want, but they love what we do here as far as building relationships, that they started donating to the Parkville Police Community Assistance Fund. And for everyone's information, this money is only used by the police department. It's got its own line item. It does not buy pens, does not buy paper, does not pay for salaries. It is all used to give back to the community. We also will go an extra step and help a young man this year that had his car stolen. I'm not bore you with all the details, but he had an $800+ bill. It was towed because it was found abandoned. We took the initiative. I heard the conversation. We negotiated with Kansas City, Missouri tow lot after we proved it was stolen and not just abandoned in Kansas City Street. They lowered it to $150. We used the fund to pay for it. It's a young couple with a 2-year-old. This all happened right before December 20th. We were able to get the car towed at the compliments of Arrow Tow Service for nothing. Wouldn't take any money. We got it fixed. He was able to get his car back with new tires. They also got the shop. What we try to do with young people, we have the same people in our program, is just continue to build relationships. There's a saying when I first got here at Parkville, everybody keeps talking about they're worried about their small town going away with all this growth. And some of that's true, because Parkville is a city with a big, it has a small town feel. I tell everyone we're a city with a lot of big city amenities. That's nice with a small town feel. It's my job as a police chief to ensure that the small town feel stays as long as it can. And it will in areas, but we are growing. The beauty here, though, is we encourage everyone to call us. We want you to call 911 if you need to. There's an administrative number. We are here to provide police service to you. And the community policing philosophy is adopted by all of my men and women that come into this organization. And if you think about it, the word community policing, it starts with community. It's not about policing. It'd be called policing if it was all about us doing it. The truth is we want to be a resource for people to help them solve issues, concerns in their life, and that's what we do well. We struggle with some resources. 2 in the morning, we get calls for service where young children are involved, and unfortunately, there are times we have to make an arrest and take someone out of the home. We provide teddy bears. We try to do all the comfort things to not make it as traumatic as possible. But the truth is there's no one waiting up there at the juvenile authorities just waiting for our call. So when we talk about resources, we would love to have more professionals in that. In the meantime, we have to try to be very good at everything that we do that we can find. And most of the times, all people want is somebody to talk to. They want somebody. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I just wanted to let you know that the time was coming up, and
So I'm about to close. So I consider ourselves the ambassadors to Parkville. We're usually the first that people see. It's very important that we're professional at all times and approachable. Thank you, Marcus, for having me, and thank you for everyone's attention.
thank you so much, Chief Chrisman. Thank you very much. That was so great to hear about the programs that the Parkville Police Department runs, their philosophy, and the position of community policing and how that differs from policing the community and how that splits from law enforcement. So thank you for helping start this conversation. And I look forward to the question and answer segment that will come at 7:15.